What's going on, YouTube? It's been a while. And by a while, I mean it's been a couple months. Life did get the best of me. I've been busy, no excuses, but there is a point in time where I have to choose to do other things that are higher priority than filming YouTube videos and posting them every single week. And the unfortunate part is just a month ago, I did lose my grandmother. Our family lost my grandma, Nanay Nene, Filomena Madeja. And the last month, to be honest, has been really tough. I haven't gotten the proper time to grieve, even though it's already been a month since it happened. On July 12th, 2021, I got the unfortunate call that we lost her. And, it was her birthday a couple days ago on August 10th. And she would have been 91 years old. And that is just crazy to think about, that she lived for over 90 years in this world, and now she can finally rest. It just happened so fast. I remember my mom was trying to call me the day that it happened, and since they're on the other side of the world, I was sleeping, and I didn't find out until that morning. So it all just happened so fast. The funeral, the service, all happened within a week. Being that the world is in the state that is in now, it was really hard to try to go and visit family in the Philippines, because if I did go back, I'd still have that 14-day quarantine where I wouldn't even be able to see family. And by that time, I probably have to come back to the US and quarantine again. So it wasn't even worth it. I know other family members were trying to do the same thing and they weren't able to do that. But aside from that, because it happened so fast, not a lot of people were able to say any words or talk about memories about my grandma. And that's kind of why I wanted to go on here and talk about the things that I remember for her for. And I think I have to start by saying that one of the first memories that I had was when I went to the Philippines for the first time in my earliest memory. I think it was right before I started school in kindergarten. We were on the plane, me and my mom, and I was dressed up in a Buzz Lightyear costume, because it was Halloween, or I thought it was Halloween, and I really liked this Toy Story movie that just came out, and I really liked Buzz Lightyear. That first trip, I remember just, going back to the Philippines, riding in a jeepney for the first time, seeing my grandma and grandpa for the first time that I can remember, because before that, I actually lived in the Philippines from 6 months old to right before I turned 2, and I don't even recall that because my earliest memory was right at my second birthday. I just remember after that first trip, it would almost be like an annual thing or a very recurring thing that I'd go back to the Philippines and visit my grandparents. As a kid, you are, annoying, or, you don't appreciate things, and that's just how kids are, and that's how I was. I'd go back to the Philippines weeks or months at a time, and I'd be like, oh gosh, I wish this trip would be over soon. But what I remember most about those times, even though it was hard, was my grandma loved me regardless of all those things. I remember singing karaoke, even though I couldn't sing as a little kid, but I sang songs like The Beach Boys, Kokomo. Whenever family is involved with so many different branches that Nanay and Tatay grew in this world, it's really hard to get that many people together. But throughout the years, I grew up, going occasionally. Once I got to middle school, it was a lot harder. High school, it was almost impossible because of how busy I was. Fortunately, my Nanay and Tatay were able to move to the US, live with us in Washington for, the better part of my high school years. So I got to see them more often. And they've lived in a bunch of other places. One of the coolest places that I remember visiting my Nanay at, and Nanay and Tatay was in Guam. They lived in an apartment close to the beach. I remember going to the beach and being scared of the fish in the water. And there was a lot of seaweed. I remember that. Just trying to piece all these different memories together. That's what has helped me grieve through this last month, is remembering all these great memories with them, especially Nanay. Because I remember there'd be days, she'd have to go to work. She's already at the retirement age, but she was still working at places like McDonald's. But despite that, she was still happy. She would, bring home food for me, like a cheeseburger or chicken nuggets. So it was all out of love. But then we fast forward to the last few years where, we lost Tatai. This was when I was in college. That was hard to, grieve over, because it was during a time where I was being solely independent, living in a different city away from my mom. And, I had to do what I had to do there. And I could see there was a change in Nanay where, she did lose her partner. And it's just hard to think that she was able to live another 9-10 years almost without her partner. When I think about Nanay's life, there have been so many eras that she's lived through, and I was only a part of it. She lived in the Philippines through, World War II as a kid. She had, post-war era. She had, the Marcos era, martial law. She had, immigrating to America and then making a life for, her kids. My mom moved to the States in the early 90s, and then that's when I was born. So it's like I finally got to be a part of her life. I guess what I'm trying to get at here is I'm sad she's gone, because the last time I saw her was in 2019. It was around my mom's birthday, right before this whole thing happened this last year. And I wanted to see her one last time. Because, there were so many things that I've done in my life that I know she's proud of. There's a lot more that I wish she could see, because I'm not done yet here. But at the same time, she did have a long life. She has family and friends that love her. She has a lot of kids. And I know she only had 4 immediate kids, but the family spanned so many people, so many lives that she touched. And one of the things that stuck out to me throughout my life was her faith. She was deeply rooted in the Catholic faith. Her name was Filomena, which, from what I looked up, is the patron saint of children. And she had a lot of children, and I'm just one of them. But she loved each and every one of us to the full extent. So I'm just happy now, knowing that she's resting, because life is hard. But life is so rich in what you can grow from it. And that is exactly what she did. So, 1 month after she's gone, she's still having, her influence on me. If you got through this video, thank you for listening. I'm still getting through this process. I wanted to say these things because I wasn't able to say them when this all happened just over a month ago. Thank you.